Hey, what's going on guys? Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. Now on today's episode I'm going to be teaching you guys how to culture water worms. So let's get to the kitchen and knock some of these little guys up. Right guys, we are in the kitchen. Now then, if you're new to my videos, hit the old subscribe button and that notification bell for up and coming videos so you don't miss any more. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you don't like this video, give it a thumbs up as well. Okay, right then, let's get to what we've got to be doing. Now, what we do with these little cultures, with the water worms, I've got a nice little culture there, as you can see, and they are absolutely teeming all over the side. Now, that's what we want, but this little culture now is getting to an end where it's going to be near enough exhausted all the nutrients that have come from inside there. Now, I'm not sure if you probably won't see it, but I'll try and get you a tidy little view in there. But that is absolutely seething with tiny little micro worms, sorry, little water worms. You can see them, they go up the glass, up the plastic, sorry, on the side, where you can just scrape them off with a Q-tip, cotton bud, if you're from the UK, and or a little paintbrush you can use as well. You can take them off. You can see how small they are. They're absolutely minute, these little guys are, and that is why we feed them to our little fry. Now, what we've got in this pot, in this saucepan here, is some oatmeal, and that's all you need, guys. What you do is you just go to your normal shop, some of the quick bake stuff, doesn't matter what type it is, whack it in the saucepan. A couple of little scoops is all I use. That's the stuff I've got there. It's the stuff we eat as well. It's just rolled oats, and I've got a little scoop, and I put two of those little scoops into there because we know it expands with water as it absorbs the water. Put it into there, bring it up to a boil, and then simmer it. Now, you want to make it not too thick. You want to get it that kind of consistency, not too runny and not too thick. That's the perfect consistency we want now. You won't get it any better than that. And we need a tub, which I've written water worms on. Better to be nice and clear like that, so you can see them climbing up the side of the plastic and you can take them off easier. Now, we're going to be filling this up to about here, so it's good to use a higher container, so then you've got plenty of space for these little chaps to crawl up the side. Important to ventilate it as well. As you can see, I put some ventilation holes in there, and the way I do that is I just heat up a needle and just push that through various points in the middle. I like to put it in the center because sometimes they do come up to the top and you don't want them getting out of there, and also you don't want insects going in there, because when you put, I'll go into how we put this stuff together in a minute, as I'll demonstrate it all, and we'll start this culture off. But you don't want the pests going in there, because that's going to vent the gases out and the air and the oxygen replacement in there, which is very important. You don't want to seal it completely, but you don't want to get little bugs in there, like things like fruit flies and stuff of that nature, because they'll go in there and they'll contaminate your cultures. So you want very, very small holes. Even though fruit flies tend to obviously go to fruit, but small flies of that kind of size will try and get inside, and then you'll have other maggots and different things flying around in there as well, which you don't want. So that's what we do there. Ventilation is really important. And obviously a starter culture as well, like this, which you can buy online. If you just type in water worms on eBay, there's lots of people that are selling these, and it's very easy to get a starter culture. I put these in here. I've got three of them at the moment, which are near enough exhausted, so I'm going to keep one because we've got better fry, if you follow the channel, in my shrimp room at the moment, which have just hatched, and the next couple of days after they've absorbed their yolk sacs, they're going to be feeding on these. So I'm going to keep one, and I'm going to put the other two cultures in there, and then by the time that one's up to speed, this one then I can just probably add in there as well. And then every sort of 21, so I say every 2 to 3 weeks, you can change it out and make a new culture up again. Yeast is important as well. So the first thing we want to do is get our little lid, take that off, and we want to fill this up. I've made quite a bit here actually, but it's not to worry, but we can pour that in there like that. These are so easy to culture, guys, it's unreal, and they are really, really beneficial to fry. I mean, a lot of people feed Infusoria to baby betta, which is absolutely fine. But these little water worms are small enough to be taken by Baby Better. So there you go. So we've got those in there now. We got the oats in there, a nice consistency. Like I said, you want it room temperature as well, guys. It's important. Don't just take it straight off of the gas and pour it in there, because you'll pour your culture in and you'll fry them all. So we don't want to be doing that. So the temperature in there is 22 point so and so. It's dropping away, 21 degrees, 20 degrees, which is fine. It's going to be, if I just go outside, there you go, that's roughly, we're roughly in that vicinity. So we're not going to fry them. It's nice and just room temperature in there, which is important. And then all we need is a little pinch of yeast. Some people put a whole packet in. I don't think you need that much at all. Just a little pinch, and you just sprinkle it very, very carefully over the top, and that will get to work and start activating just like that. That's all you need, a little tiny sprinkle, little pinch on the top, and then that will go to work, and you'll end up with that fermentation taking place inside there then, and that will create lots and lots of little bacteria and things, which is what these little guys live on. Right, once you've got your yeast in, as you can see in there, it'll start, you'll see it fermenting, slowly fermenting away. You can just give it a light stir. Try to get my arm out of the way. Left-handed, see? All the good ones are. And just give it a little stir like that. Stir it about. Make sure you get that yeast dispersed all through it. I use my little teaspoons. It's got little holes through it, and it acts as like a little whisk, and it just gets it all done. I say these are so easy to culture, guys. They really are. Just keep them in room temperature. They don't have to be in the light, or they don't mind where they are, as long as they've got the food. Just wash that off a minute. As long as they've got their food, they're absolutely fine. Right, now we get our culture. I'll try and get it at an angle. There you go. There's a better angle for you. You can see them absolutely, they're seething in there. Look, it's like shimmering with them. And there's that many in there. But I know within a few days to a week that'll be exhausted and they'll start dying off. Now the ones you're looking at are the adults, and they can have up to about 60 young a day from 4 days old. So you can imagine how quick they're going to reproduce inside there. It was a guy called Helmut Walter in 2002 that started to breed these and brought them into the market as a food for fish, and studying these little guys. Look at that, absolutely billions of them in there. But you can imagine the baby ones. Now these are excellent for bringing on guppy fry, danio fry, any little small fish, betta fry, anything of that nature. These are absolutely an awesome starting food for them. Super easy to culture, as you know. If you're going to start doing Artemia, brine shrimp, that kind of thing, you've got to go through that process of salting the water, getting everything right, and it's a right pain in the backside, to be honest, to get all those right. And you don't need them with these. These are just as good, highly nutritious for the fry as well. And they're eating all that bacteria, which is brilliant for gut loading the babies and starting them off on their little journey to adulthood. And all good all rounders as well. I mean, your adult fish, your adult small fish, you know, endlers, stuff like that nature. They'll feed on the adults, as you can see on the side there. They'll easily see those in the water, but it's the ones you can't see that are infusoria size that are the ones that the babies, the fry, are going to pick off, which are going to be floating around the tank. They sink when you put them in the tank, which is good. And they'll live for around 35 days. And by that time, it just keeps on going. That clock keeps going, they keep on breeding, and as long as you're doing them again, I'll just zoom you back. There you go. So as long as you're providing them with the food they need, you can see how many's just in that little tiny culture there, and there's billions in there. But we're going to make a decent culture now out of these. So I've got my spoon there. This is obviously the only one I use for that. We can scoop out this little starter culture, which is very sticky now. Scoop that out. and then just move that around, and that will start those little guys off. And within a few days to a week, I'll show you this culture again on another video. Obviously not another video about these, but and then they'll start crawling. Then you can just move it around the top, mix it up a little bit, disperse them through it, and they will get to work straight away. And then don't forget afterwards, making sure with very, very hot water that you clean all your pots out, everything else ready for the next culture. And that's all you do. You just keep on repeating this every few days. It'll start to smell a little bit like vinegary after a while because of the fermentation taking place inside the container. That's what it's like now inside, and within, I would say, 24 hours you're going to start seeing these little guys climbing up the side. And that is where you get your little cotton buds or your Q-tips or your paintbrush, and you just run that around the side like that carefully. Now a lot of people just shake it into the tank after they put it in to the pot and remove some from the side. Now I don't like to do this because you're removing a lot of the obviously waste, and also some of the porridge as well, and the cloudiness will go into your water. So what I tend to do is get another pot. I've got lots of these little pots, and I'll just put some aquarium water in there, okay, and I'll shake it around. I'll put a few scrapes into that pot, and I'll swirl it around nice and slowly, and that'll separate that cloudy water then from the worms itself. And then I will very slowly, after a certain time, these water worms will sink to the bottom. Pour them out, pour the water out down your sink like so. You can either add a little bit more water, shake it again, so all you end up in there then is the worm and the water, and that's all you've got. You've got no other contamination in there at all. So that way you're putting in everything very, very pure into the tank, and you're not going to up pure nitrates in any way, that shape or form as well. And another thing which you want to learn about these is they're not actually worms, they're actually a nematode. So if you didn't know that, now you do. Lots of different ways to make this as well. You don't have to use porridge oats. You can use things like ready break, you can use baby cereal, anything along those natures. Try different cultures, just try different things. You know, if as long as it's room temperature, you can start it off. Just try different little methods. That's what I've done over the years. But I always found the old oats. It's only because I have it in the house, because I have it myself and the family, we eat it. So I just make it up from the porridge oats, which I find works well. And you can see from these little cultures, like from the other one there, how many's in there. Look at that big load of them up the top there. What I'll do is I'll take you into the shrimp room in a minute, and I'll put some into the tank, and I'll prepare some, and we'll put them in, and you can see how they go in and see how the fish go mad for them. Okay. Right guys, what I've done now is I've set you up now. You're not going to believe that. Look, already, if you look at the side of that, we've just put that in there, and I stirred that yeast in, put that culture in, and already, look, they're that high up the side of the plastic already, all climbing about, ready to go. But we're going to leave that now, leave that do its job. We're going to concentrate on this one here. I've got some aquarium water in my jug there, and we've got one of the old cultures, the last culture there. So what I'm going to do is I've got my old trusty turkey baster there, and we're just going to suck up some water out of there, and we're going to transfer some into this little pot here, like so. And then if you look, I'll try and get a nice little close-up view for you. You can see them all now. They've left the mixture, so that's near enough just worms on their own up there. There's not a great deal of the oat mixture on them, so we've got a huge big clump of them there. So what I'll do with you watching, get your paintbrush and just carefully push it through them. I like to just poke the brush down, and that sort of fill that paintbrush right up with them then on the edge, you see. And then we just stir that into the water, mix those around, and you'll see them all floating around in there. And we can get a few more, another heap of them there. I think what we'll do is we'll go into the into my bench tank, and we'll put some in there for the endlers, because they go nuts for these things. They really do. Like I said, guys, it doesn't matter if it's for fry or for adult fish. Not obviously big fish, but the smaller species, you know, like your guppies and your endlers and all your tetras and stuff like that will go crazy for these. They really will. And there you can see them just banking up. Look how many's on there. Look, there's no end of those, and that's just pure worms. There's nothing else on there. So once you distribute them into that water, I think we'll have another go. Because what I'll do is, we've got some baby we've got some baby betta fry at the moment as well, but they're only really started free swimming yesterday, so we're going to leave them a couple of days before we do anything else with those, before they're going to need any of those. So we're going to keep that little pot, because we know there's loads in there, but as obviously, look, there's thousands of millions climbing up the glass as we speak, up the plastic, sorry, as we speak there. I'll try and bring that a bit closer for you so you can see what's going on inside there. You can see them, look, just climbing up. I know worms aren't everyone's cup of tea. Some people are pretty grossed out by them, but it's an amazing source of food for your fry and for your fish alike. Right, let me get you all squared up again. Look at that. Absolutely thousands and thousands and thousands in there. Okay, so what you do now, push that back to the side, and if you can see around the base, I don't think, you might just see them there, but you can see them all accumulating now on the side. So what I tend to do is leave that for a couple of minutes. I'll get back to you in a couple of minutes when they've all settled to the bottom, which doesn't take long, only takes about a minute, and they'll all sink to the bottom. And then we can empty, or we can suck out some of that water with a turkey baster and dispose of that. And then we can put some fresher water back in again. Okay guys, that's been sat there for a while. Give the old, I like to just go in on the surface. You can see there's quite a few there, still in the water column actually. I'll leave that for a minute. You just see me puff that in there. You see, they all moved. Another good way of doing it as well, which I should have done the first time and showed you, is if you get a spoon or something of that nature, give them a swirl, tip it up on its side slightly like so, and then they'll all end up in that bottom little corner there. Okay, so when they've settled, we'll go from there. Right guys, they have all settled now on the bottom. If you look at the base there, it looks like it's pixelated. It's the way it's moving. That's billions of little tiny water worms just all wriggling around in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove some of this water. You're going to probably suck up a few, but I wouldn't worry about it because there's millions in there. Like so. That can go down the drain. And then what I'll do is add some more water, stir them all up again. You can see them all moving around in there like that. And we do that process 2 or 3 times till that water goes nice and clear, and then all we've got is the water worms in there with some nice fresh tank water, and then we can use the turkey baster then to add them to the tank. So I'll do that, and then we'll shoot off into my little shrimp room, I think, and I'll put some in the shrimp tank, because the shrimps love these little guys as well. When they settle on the bottom, they run along and they pick them up, and it's a good little source of protein and that for the shrimp as well. So, and with it being live food, it's not going to pollute your water, and there's loads of stuff in there for them to eat as well. And they will live in the water for quite some time, believe it or not. So I'll do that, and I'll get back to you in a sec when these guys have all settled and I've cleaned it out a couple more times, okay? Okay guys, we're all cleaned through now. We've cleaned all that water out, so we've got nothing in there now apart from aquarium water and all these delightful little worms whizzing around in there, various sizes. You can see that some of them are bigger, some of them are mid-range sort of size, right down to these tiny little micro babies, which are the ones that all our little fry are going to feed on as well. They're an amazing starter culture, super easy to keep, super easy to cultivate, and you'll pick up on your fry and the choking hazards which can happen with keeping small fish. Yeah, there's a few other little guys in there as well, little white dots. I'm not sure if you can see them now. I got this from a chap on eBay quite a while back, and I've been keeping the cultures going for some time. But there could be some other, I'm not sure if that's eggs, where they're producing the eggs again. It's something that I'll have to research. I've not seen it before. But those little white dots in the middle there, it could be something else. It could be, not sure at all what it is. I'm not going to hazard a guess at it. But I can see all the water worms, that's the ones we want. And no doubt anything that goes in the tank's going to get eaten by the fish anyway. So I think what we should do now is go into my shrimp room and we'll put some into the tank, and you can see them fall to the bottom and see what eats them. There's only shrimp in there, but it's got a black background, so you'll really see them fall down through the water column and see what it's all about. Okay guys, this is the little tank we're going to be putting them into. You can see lots of little cherry shrimp in there. This is the tank that I showed you last time with all the little baby cherries in. If you can see those all over the leaf around by one of the parents. There's one on the edge of the leaf, there's a couple down below. There's probably some around. I put some food in there earlier on for the ram's horns and for the shrimp as well. So there's probably going to be a few around, lurking around there, but they're all over the place. You can see them eating that decayed leaf there. So they're going to eat these as well, so it's going to be pretty beneficial. Some of my shrimp hide that I made there on the top running around. And in amongst all the water plants that we got, the dwarf water lettuce on the surface here. So I'll get a few. And then you'll see them go in. We've also got the baby betta fry in this little tank as well. You can see them stuck to the glass there, but we'll put a few in there in a minute as well. You can just see them. I'll puff them out and you'll just see them coming out. Look how small they are. And that was just a little tiny scoop, and that's how many we've got. And everything's going to thrive on these. Oh, there's a big load come out there. I've got a pleco in here as well, a false zebra pleco. But there's nothing else in there apart from water and the worms. And I tend to keep, if you blow them out of a turkey baster, you get the smaller ones will actually stay inside. You see the bigger ones tend to wriggle more. If it'll focus. And I tend to blow those out, and then what we can do is go over to the fry tank with the little babies. You can just see them there swimming around, and we'll fire a few in here as well. And that'll keep these little guys happy. Like I say, they'll live for a few days in the water, and by that time these guys will be up and running, swimming around, and they'll start actively picking those off. We won't put that many in, but we'll just put the rest into the tank. There you go, next to it. Let them settle down. And we've still got that many left. Absolutely billions of them, there really is. So you can see the baby betta there, the little fry. Most of them will be up in amongst the plants, but they'll soon start finding them little chaps and start eating them, and they'll be growing away. So hopefully we'll have a bit more success with this. So as we speak, Jack and his girlfriend are bringing on more in the shed. I tried to catch her out the other day, but I think she's used to me trying to get her out now, so she was evading capture. But I'll nip in there then. I think she's breeding, so I'll show you a little clip of them laying eggs and putting them into the bubble nest. And we'll take these guys with us, and we can feed some to the paludarium and the bench tank as well. But before we go into the shed, I just thought I'd show you the new culture of water worms that we just made. And it literally, they've gone up the side of the tank and it looks like a forest up the side of there. Look at that. like a little forest of them going up there. That's how quickly, no, I say that there was a lot in the cultures that I put in there. But as you can see there, they've gone all the way around and they're creeping up the glass. That humidity's forming inside there because it was slightly warmer in there than it was outside. But there is billions of them in there, look. And that is what you do, and you just scrape them off the side and add them to your aquarium and rinse them through like I showed you. Right, let's go into the workshop now. There you go, guys, as we speak, Jack there picking up a load of eggs that his girlfriend has just dropped. And if we go around the side of the cup here, you can see he's made that lovely little bubble nest underneath there as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this lot, I'm going to have to take these out as well, because obviously we've got a lot of shrimp in here, lots of little corries that's going mad all running around the place, and we've got the ember tetras as well. Now there's his girlfriend there. He's had a nice bite out of her tail, but that'll heal pretty quickly. One of you guys said to me about, on the last video, about putting an Indian almond leaf into the tank to aid in recovery. Now it does, because they're really good antibacterial and anti-fungicidal properties in tannins from Indian almond leaves, and that will stop anything getting any funguses or anything growing. So it's always a good thing to do, but only like soft water species really, like these, obviously tetras, all that kind of stuff. The harder water fish, you don't really need to do that, because they will soften the pH. Right, there they go, they're starting to go together again. I'll try and get a better shot out of the glare for you. There they go. Oh no, didn't happen that time. But if you watch, you'll grab her in his fins, you'll turn her over. There they go, there you go, he's turned her over. It'll be vent to vent underneath. As she produces the eggs, he produces the sperm, and they fertilise the eggs. They'll stay together for a minute, and then they'll break. The eggs will release, as you see there, and then he'll go and collect them. I think they've near enough finished now, because there's not that many eggs being produced. He'll quickly go down, and she'll stay in a little trance-like state for about 10 to 15 seconds while he picks up the eggs, or she'll nip straight down and she'll eat them. And you'll see her in a minute. She'll shoot down and see if there's any left. And she may pick up the odd one, because she's used a lot of energy to produce those eggs. If you look on her abdomen underneath, you can see that little white spot. That's called an egg spot, and that's when you can tell when they're ready to go. I've got videos on how these two breed from start to finish to set up. Go back and have a look at those. There you go, he's looking for the eggs, and he'll go and put them up there. Right then, getting back to the old watering worms, we've got the hatchet fish on the top and all the shrimp down below. Now we've got a heap of endlers in here. They're over the other side at the moment. We're going to suck up a load of these guys. And start dripping them in, and already you can see the fish starting to accumulate with those live worms being dropped into the water column. And these are brilliant for feeding all round, guys. Don't just think it's for fry. Everything in the tank will live and thrive on these little water worms. They really will. I think what I'll do is I'll just give the pot a little swirl. You can see the endlers there already up on the top. Stunning colours at the moment. I'll just go that way a little bit, and then we'll tip them in. You're not going to really see them with this light background. But they're going mad for them now. Anyway, I think those guys are finished. I'll give them another 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes, and then I'll probably take those eggs out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out and put them into the little square acrylic box that you saw the other ones hatching in, or hatched in, and all swimming about. Because obviously you see they've got ember tetras in here and the shrimp and everything else, and they won't last long. So And then what I'm going to do is, obviously Jack's going to stay in here. You see him scaring everything away, and I'll do my best. I'll take the polystyrene cup out, I'll catch her out, put her back in her tank, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, lots and lots of little babies in there. You can see them all over the glass. They're all up round the side here, up in amongst the bubbles on the side of the algae scraper, which I've got just to use as a clamp, really, just to hold it to the side. And what I'll do then, it's on the I've got it right to the edge. If I come in nice and slow, you'll see them all around the surface. And obviously they've literally just hatched and they're literally free swimming from last night, so another couple of days and they'll be racing around in there. And then what I'll do is I'll slowly lower that. You can see it's near enough on the water level anyway. I'll lower that and let them release, and they can swim out in their own time then in amongst all this dwarf water lettuce, where there'll be loads of Infusoria and micro life for them to eat as well. Anyway guys, I hope you liked that little video on how to make water worm cultures up. Banana worms, micro worms, grindle worms, all these little cultures can be made very, very easily, and they're always handy to have in your armoury. And just remember that it's not really just for fry, it's for, adult fish as well, small tetras, all that kind of stuff. They'll thrive on these things, and it will really give them a boost. It will condition them to breed and really give them a good start. So don't just think they're just for fry. Grab yourself a couple of little cultures. They're for sale all over the place on eBay and various other places, maybe your local fish shops as well. And it's just something extra, some bit of live food, bit of live nutrition for your little pets. Like I said guys, I hope you enjoyed that little video. Take care, love you loads, you're all stars, and I'll see you on the next edition of Mark's Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.